So there aren't really any good low tides this week in order to go tide pooling, but I really want to see some sea creatures. So we're gonna go to the marina to a public dock and look over the side and see what kinds of animals we can find. That's commonly known as dock fouling because all of the creatures that live on the dock are considered to be fouling it. In some places they actually scrape off the animals to get rid of them when people maybe don't like the sight of that or are afraid of them rubbing up against their boat. But at this dock, they do not remove the animals, luckily. There's also a lot of seaweed and kelp that grows, so the animals live in that area, and we're gonna see what we can find. About a week ago, someone went to this spot and found a sea hare, which is kind of like a sea slug. It's not technically a nudibranch, but it is a fairly large slug. It's one of the largest slug species, and I've actually never seen one before. It's on my bucket list. But I really want to go to the docks and see if I can see a sea hare for myself. Wish me luck. Right off the bat, we found tons of these sea slugs called opalescent nudibranchs. These are not the sea slugs we were looking for. These are a lot smaller and more brightly colored, but they're still an amazing find and pretty easy to spot in tide pools and under docks because of their bright opalescent color. I already showed you one of these giant acorn barnacles, another pretty common find under docks in my area. These are crustaceans, so they're related to animals like crabs, and this one was hanging out with another one of those opalescent nudibranchs. The barnacles like to stick out these feet-like appendages, scrape them through the water, and collect food floating by. They're also known as filter feeders. We then found the cutest tiny baby scallop, and hanging out nearby was one of the smallest limpets I'd ever seen. And then finally, we found the forbidden spaghetti noodles, which are none other than sea hare eggs. Once we found these, I knew there had to be a sea hare nearby, but I had looked under pretty much the entire dock, and then I realized I had not looked at the pilings. And that's when we found this California sea hare. It was pretty far away at first, but it was slowly crawling up closer to me. It probably just wanted to be on the dock, or maybe those were its own eggs that it was trying to get to. Regardless, I like to believe it was coming closer to me so I could get a better look. As I mentioned, this is a California sea hare. It's, I think, the second largest species in California, but it was still pretty massive. It's hard to tell, but it was about 1 foot long. The black sea hare can get even larger, and that is the next species on my bucket list. Also, apparently this species can expel ink when they're stressed, but I did not want to see that.